Hey guys, you're watching Two Peas and a podcast with me, Dan Evans, and today we've got two very special guests with us today. We have SAB all the way from the Philippines, and also Jon Guelas, also from the Philippines, well, technically from the UK, but currently based in the Philippines, right? So first question, how are you both?
Before I answer this question, I just want to say, throughout this interview, you're gonna see me and John going, "Are you first or am I first?" At any moment. So for me, I'm doing quite well. I'm enjoying. Today's like the Saturday for me, so I'm enjoying my free time and also getting to talk to you.
Brilliant. And Jon?
Yeah, I'm really good, really happy. I'm excited to be here. And also, how are you, Dan?
I'm very well. I was just saying to the guys before, I just come back from a trip in France, so I got back last night. So up crack of dawn, ready to speak to you guys, all
Wow,
prepared, professional as I am, but
love that
very
for
well.
you.
Yeah, it's great. So you two have had very interesting starts to your careers. We'll go with Sab first because we'll do it ladies first if I ask joint questions because it just makes
Yeah.
sense, right?
Okay.
But you sort of released a single during a pandemic called She.
I did.
Yeah, what was it like? What was the inspiration behind that?
Yeah, for me, I actually wrote She 2 years before I released it, or yeah, 2 years before I released it. I released it 2020, literally right smack into the pandemic, which was really interesting because I was like, oh, how are we going to do this? Because obviously it's fresh pandemic, so all of us are still adjusting.
Yeah.
But when I wrote the song, I initially wrote it when I was 14, 15. Then it was the first time I wrote it by accident because my English teacher was like, I need you guys to write a poem for class. And I'm really competitive. I was like, I gotta get 100. Whatever the highest score is, I'm
Oh
gonna get
wow,
it. And I did. But
that's
from
great.
that, thank you. From that, I combined it with learning how to play the uke. And a few months after, I wrote the song. And then She actually became my audition song for Star Music, which is the label I'm under now. So it's crazy whenever I think about that song, it's like it's the first song I wrote, then it became my audition song, then it became my debut song.
Yeah, that's fantastic, and it's been used for a TV show as well in Korea.
Yes, it was used for Flower of Evil, the K drama. I was shocked. I found out on Twitter.
Oh really? What a way to find
I,
out. That's amazing. And so to think you wrote that from when you were at school, that's amazing. Just kind of like follow it through to sort of now, really, all the different successes you've had along the way. And with Jon as well, you started your career really back on X Factor 2018, right?
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
It was amazing. It was incredible. You know, like before X Factor, I didn't do anything to do with music. I loved music, but it was just a passion that I had kept it to myself. So then from going from nothing performing to no one to there's just being chucked on a stage in front of all these people, it was
Oh wow!
very, very overwhelming, but an amazing experience. Yeah.
And
A
four
lot of
yeses
fun.
from the judges.
Yeah.
What did
yeah.
that feel like? Did you get like a standing ovation from the crowd and just the energy in the room?
I can't really remember. I was just so in the moment. But I remember actually afterwards, after I got the four yeses, Robbie Williams and Louis Tomlinson from One Direction, they called me down and they just had like a one-to-one chat with me, just like, you did amazing, you know, just believe in yourself, just go for it. They said they're both introverts themselves. So it was really nice to hear
That's interesting.
like nice words from people that have made it in the industry.
Over the following few years in SAB, you've had a lot of successes since your She release. With additional film credits, you have further singles as well. So what are your personal highlights over the last couple of years?
Oof. I don't know why that felt like such a big question. But for me personally, the way I think about it, I'm still quite new in the industry. So like all of the opportunities and experiences that came across my way, I cherish each and every one. But so far, I guess one of the biggest highlights for me was like getting to release my very first EP, like a full 6-song EP. And then also getting to go on tour recently in the US. It was this August for Star Magic US tour. That was a wonderful experience.
Oh wow, that's amazing. What did that feel like touring the US?
It felt crazy because our schedules were like very it was listed from morning till night, so we knew exactly what we were doing, but it never felt entirely like work because we were enjoying so much. And then I also got to hang out with my co-artists. There was like 20 of us at once. So it was insane, and also getting to learn from people who have more years in the industry. It's just, I have no words.
Yeah, I was going to say, because if you've got a lot of time spent with a lot of people who have various points throughout their career, you share experiences, you learn a lot from them. So that's great that you kind of been nurtured and, you know, you having the successes that you are. And with Jon as well, you had a stint with Robbie in, was that Wembley? Or Hyde Park, or sorry?
No, that was Hyde Park.
Hyde Park, yeah. What was that like being on stage with Robbie?
Again, it was so surreal. There was 60,000 people like in the crowd, and you can imagine just looking out. They just look like dots. You can't see anyone's facial expression. It was amazing. So
I think
you know,
sometimes that's the best thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And being on stage with him and then seeing what he does is just like a big eye opener, and it really pushes you and makes you want to do that, because you've got like a small taste of what he's doing, and you're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm gonna try and do that also.
Do you find there's like almost like a split personality of yourself? Like, so like you behind off stage sort of thing, you kind of like this, you know, you're Jon, you do these regular things, and on stage you have this massive persona. You've got to beam and become this huge star on stage. Do you find that's the case, or do you find yourself, it kind of naturally transitions, that you're the same guy?
So, in all honesty, a lot of people think I'm like quite a confident, outgoing person, but then the people around me that really know me, they just know I'm like a shy, timid guy that just likes to hide in the corner and play the guitar sometimes. So yeah, definitely. And I think that's the case with a lot of artists and a lot of creative people, is when they're doing their craft, they're big and outgoing, but then behind closed doors, I think most of them are quite reserved.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. It's interesting to sort of learn about like what goes on behind the scenes, because people often have this perception of what you're like as a person, people you never met, people over the world, and just to kind of like give people an insight into that is probably a great way to kind of like bond with the audience, I guess. So Sab, you also collaborated with P-pop group Beanie for the launch of the album Born to Win. What was that experience like?
That was a crazy experience because, like what I said earlier, I'm also a songwriter. So other than writing for myself, I also write for other artists in our company. So far, it's been a crazy experience, and getting to write for Beanie specifically was probably one of the most challenging, because as you can imagine, my genre is like indie pop, and it meant for like one person doing like instrumentals, and then move to them, which is like a combination of Filipino pop with also K-pop influence. It's like full on dance, and like you have to rap and you have to be able to do all these high ad-libs at once. So I like to say that I'm an ambitious person. So when I was submitting demos for them to hopefully get the song of, I learned very basic rap, very basic music production, just because I wanted to submit to them. And thankfully they really liked it, which ended up as their leading track for their first album, which was Golden Arrow.
Yeah, and that was also produced by Jonathan Manalo as well. And what was your experience like
Yes,
working
it
with
was.
Jonathan? Because he's like a top producer in the industry, isn't he?
He is. For me, he's one of my best mentors. I get to work with him a lot, especially for my EP and as well as songs for other artists. He's like one of the people that he has the most approachable and warm aura ever, which is insane, because when you think about him like in a objective sense, you're like, you have very many credits to your name, and you're still so kind and humble, which is such a blessing to have.
Was it like the first time you guys met? Was it very nerve-wracking? Because you, like you say, you think he's going to be this like scary person, but actually he's really humble and down to earth.
Yeah, the very first time I met him, it was actually in my Star Music audition. So at the time, I was like 15, 16. Admittedly, I didn't know who I was talking to.
That's probably the best thing, isn't it?
Yeah. There were so many people in the room, and I was just so focused on the fact that I had to sing well for it to go well. So for me, I was just intimidated by everyone. But then the very first time I hopped in the studio with him, I was like, oh, this guy's really warm and kind. He's just such a great mentor.
It gives a great sort of atmosphere as well when you work together as well, doesn't it?
It does. Something about like another artist being so willing to collaborate with you is always such great energy.
Yeah. And John, so coming away from the UK scene, you've also performed on the Wish Bus, ASAB Nadinto and Monster RX 93.1 to promote your Filipino to music to the Filipino audience. So how important is it to you to get your music in front of and heard in this region?
I think it's the most important thing for me personally because, you know, I'm half Filipino, half English, and I've tried in England and I've loved it there. There's a lot of people that I really, really enjoy playing music to. But then I wanted to really like branch out and adventure, explore the other half of me. I'm half Filipino, my bloodline is Filipino. So it's really nice to be here, release some music here and perform to a Filipino crowd. Because yeah, the thing about the Filipino crowd is they're so lovely. They're so warm and welcoming.
Very, very passionate.
Yeah, super passionate. You know, like sometimes I go places and I meet people and I still have my English accent. I still sound very, very British, but yet they accept me super openly. So I'm just super grateful. But yeah, releasing my music here in the Philippines is my number one goal at the moment.
That's great. Do you find when people approach you, they just immediately talking to you in Tagalog because they just assume? How is your Tagalog?
My Tagalog is not there. It's half there. I'm learning.
Because Tagalog is actually good though. The words that you know are good.
Maraming
I'm not
salamat.
joking. There you go. See? There you go.
No, it's not that bad. I can understand more than I can speak, but there's sometimes when I'm like, for example, in the back of an Uber, or in Philippines it's called a Grab, and the driver speaks to me and I'm just like, yes, because I have no idea what he's just said.
That's funny. I've been to the Philippines a number of times, so I fully appreciate the sort of like the lost in translation aspects of it. The Philippines is renowned for having the best singers in the world, and I think it's only quite recently, maybe the last 5 years, 10 years maybe, that they've really started to gain traction across the globe. But why do you think that might be?
Well, I think me being half Filipino, I know this for a fact that there are some of the best singers in the world in the Philippines. So I think maybe a reason for them becoming so well known now on a global scale is possibly social media, because social media has like opened the world up and you can see every single continent, every single part, you know what's happening. So now, because that is so open, the world can openly see how incredible the artists are in the Philippines. Mm-hmm. So it's also nice. It's nice to see that this country, the Filipino artists are flourishing.
Yeah, and Sab, from someone who actually resides in Manila, how do you think why that is?
For me, I think it's what a belief that I like to think of is that talent will always find its way in the world, regardless of like how long it takes or where you are. Talent will always be recognized for how raw and how beautiful it is. And I think that as a Filipino community, we have a lot of raw talent to offer, and especially when we try to hone it and aren't afraid to showcase ourselves to the world, it's always going to be recognized, which is amazing because we're also getting to have all of these amazing opportunities to showcase it, like what John said, through social media or through live events. For example, one of them actually get to perform in a whole other country. Nerve-wracking, I know.
Speaking of other countries, obviously you're going to be performing in 1MX London. So is this your first time in London?
It isn't actually my first time in London. I've been there when I was younger. I also have like 2 cousins who are in England, so I'm sort of used to hearing the accent. Sometimes I see them like a couple times.
Yeah,
a few months whenever they visit. So it's a beautiful country. I enjoy it. It's cold. That's why I like it.
Yeah,
it's cold.
I'm not gonna lie, it's cold this morning. I got my jacket on. It's freezing. I'm like, this is just coming into the cusp of autumn. But there we are. It's amazing how fast the weather changes. Is it your first time performing in London? This 1MX?
Yes, it's my first time performing there. Like first time where it's not a regular vacation, and I'm like,
yeah.
Ooh.
What are you looking forward to most about coming to London?
For me, definitely performing. But other than that, also getting to see the beautiful sights. If you have recommendations, please let me know. I have not been there in a while.
How about you, John? What, obviously, you performed in London before, but I mean, what are you looking forward to about coming back?
Looking forward to seeing some fans because I know there's some of them coming along to 1MX. Seeing my family, I haven't seen them in a while. But also, I think the thing I miss the most about England specifically is fish and chips.
Oh, brilliant!
I'm so excited to go to a local chippy and just
Yeah. Do you know what as I said, I was in Paris over the last couple of days really, and we got some fish and chips at Disneyland, and it cost us €40. I almost cried. It was like that was so expensive.
Why is it so expensive?
It's Disneyland. They
Yeah.
you know, they don't charge a fortune for anything.
Yeah.
But you know, to be fair, they were quite good chips, but still, it's eye-watering pricing. It's just crazy. On a more personal level, then we'll start again with you, Sab. What do you like to do in your spare time?
In my spare time,
Yeah.
I'm in school.
Okay.
I'm in college, so in my spare time, I'm doing homework and trying to catch up. But actually, in actual free time, I basically surf the internet. I also like to spend time with my friends. So it's either depends. If I'm in my introverted stage or extroverted stage.
Okay.
It tells what I'm doing.
What are you studying? Music, I presume.
Yes, I'm studying music
Yeah.
production in school.
Fantastic. And John, what do you like to do in your spare time?
So in my spare time, normally I like to, go to the gym, just try and release some negative thoughts there. Or aside from music, I'm like branching out and trying to learn to do different things. So for example, like I did a catwalk. I was a runway model, which was interesting. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just adventuring,
Yeah.
seeing where life takes me.
Maybe Tagalog. Learning Tagalog might be another curricular activity to help with your living in Manila.
100%.
I did try and start learning Tagalog. I actually downloaded an app, and I started off quite well. But then it's been that long since I went back to it. I've just completely forgotten everything I've learned.
Okay, do you know anything? Just one word.
Tinidor.
That's right.
Is that?
It's a fork.
That's a fork.
I didn't even know that.
What else? I can't. Just there's a lot of words scrambled in here somewhere. Occasionally one just sort of pops out. But Tinidor seems to stick in my head for some reason. I don't know why. Fork. What a strange thing to remember.
No, it's helpful. It's helpful for when you need a fork.
Yeah, except a lot of the times you want a spoon or something. But there we go.
When was the last time you came to Philippines?
It's January 2019. I was there to partly host and present at the Wish Awards, which is, like you said, John, it's thousands of people. It's very nerve-wracking to stand up in front of.
Yeah.
But I was thankful. It's a dark environment, lots of lighting, so I was just blinded by it. So I didn't have to see anyone, thankfully.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. But I'm coming back in November this year to do a bit more of a trip and stuff. We've got I don't want to bore you with the details, but we're doing a bit of a TV show. So me, my friend Shay, who would normally co-present this podcast with us, we're doing a bit of a sort of a pilot out in the Philippines. So that's something we're working on.
Yay!
So watch this
Congrats
space.
in advance.
It'd be great though,
congrats.
if we come out in November, like sometime we could, if there's a way we can organise a meetup or something, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, we can meet up.
We'll get our team to talk
Let's
to
go.
your team, and we'll work something out.
Yay!
So, do you guys have a favourite artist or song?
Oh.
Local, international.
Any who just somebody you admire the most? I suppose maybe local might be more preferable because it helps encourage that Filipino name across the channel and the world.
Ladies first.
I was gonna say that the silence is us thinking really hard, but I guess I'll give a local artist and an international artist. For local artists, me personally, I really like I Belong to the Zoo. They do a lot of acoustic type of songs, a lot of heartbreak songs that you can scream to, which is always wonderful and preferable. And then for international, right now one of my favorite artists is Joshua Bassett. I am very much looking forward to his new EP coming very soon. I will scream my head off.
I can't wait to hear you all the way from here screaming. And Jon?
A local artist. So I've only been here for like 6 or 7 months, so I'm not super familiar with the scene, the music scene. But there's one artist in particular that really stands out to me. His name is Arthur Neary. He sings a lot of like songs in Tagalog, and I don't fully understand the songs, but I can feel the emotion in what he's singing. So yeah, that's a really good time for me. But then on an international stage, I would say Ed Sheeran. Just, I absolutely love the guy.
I was going to say actually the songs in Tagalog, you may not understand it, but I think that's the key. That for me, if you can fall in love with a song that you don't understand, that's to me is a very successful song. You can. There's been times where I've I've been reacting to some Filipinos singing on YouTube, and I've actually shed tears because I don't understand the lyrics, but sometimes the music just moves you that much that you just connect. And I think that's just the mark of a fantastic song.
I agree.
Universal language, isn't it, music? So if you didn't become a singer, what do you think you'd be doing?
For me, in all honesty, if I didn't end up doing like music or any type of art, I would right now I'm in college, so I think I'd still be in business management, and then I'd end up just doing become a data analyst. That's what I see myself doing. So
something
I was raised
practical.
by accountants.
Okay.
Yeah, I was raised by accountants. So
that's really useful. I just employed an accountant to sort out my finances. Like, mate, you sort it out. I don't know what I'm doing.
Don't you worry. In another universe, I am your accountant.
I love it. You're hired. Brilliant.
Thank you.
And Jon, what would you be doing if you weren't singing?
I think I'd be playing football probably here in Philippines. So before I used to be in Norwich Academy growing up as a kid. Mm-hmm. I played football all the time. I loved it. So then, I think that's my other hobby that I haven't done in a long time.
Oh, wow. So what position would you play?
Normally like centre attacking mid.
Okay.
Do you like football?
I don't follow it. I do enjoy the odd game. When I was a child, that makes me sound really old now, but when I used to play for like under...
No, it's okay.
I'm not as old as I look, probably. Or maybe I don't know. I used to play football for like a local team and stuff, who you'd never hear of. But we lost every game. But I don't know whether we're just a really rubbish team or whether it's because I was in goal. Maybe both. But
goalie?
I was a goalkeeper, but I didn't see a lot of action like... Other than when they kept kicking the ball in the back of my net, but other than that, I was quite a small-ish child, and the goals were quite large, so it was quite a big target to, So we lost every game. I think we maybe won one game in like the many years we played. It was terrible. Hopefully I've improved since, although I haven't played for a while. But I'm a bit bigger these days. I could actually reach the ball and kick it.
Let's have a kickabout if you come to Philippines.
Yeah. I'd love that. That'd be really cool. Going forward then, what do you have lined up, like project-wise? SAB?
In terms of projects, at least for now, I'm definitely working to release more music soon. So lots of music in 2023. Oh my God, that sounds like a whole new year. Wow.
I know, right?
That's wild. Definitely maybe a new sound. I'm trying to explore a different era in terms of my music. And right now I'm actually in acting workshop. I don't know how that happened, but right now I'm doing acting workshops. So
any TV credits lined up or films that we can get a sneak intro on?
There is none, but right now one of my passion projects is to work on a musical. So maybe hopefully in the future, a few years down the line, I'd like to make a musical.
Yeah. That'd be amazing. And Jon, what about you? What are you working on right now?
So I just released a song like yesterday or the day before. I'm not actually sure. It's called Hardest Thing. So I'm super excited about that. And then upcoming by the end of the year, I would have released my first EP. So I'm super looking forward to just releasing more music. And I'm also hosting something for the Department of Tourism, which will be a lot of fun.
That's interesting. Oh, I've been wanting to connect with those guys for a while actually, so I might pick your brain sometime about that. So, in terms of then people like your fans connecting with you, for those who don't already follow you, how can they connect with you? What kind of social platforms are you active on?
Again, you guys can check me out on @official SAB Music on all of my socials. It's exactly the same handle for all. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Kumu, Twitter, and also YouTube. I put up videos now. Just search SAB in big letters. And as well as I do encourage you to check out my original songs and original music on all digital streaming platforms, and maybe check out the songs that I write for others as well.
Excellent plug. I love that. There's lots of platforms on there. I sort of keep to the usual three because it's just easier. But yeah, Kumu as well.
Thank you.
How about you, John? How can people connect with you?
Thank you so much for having me on here. So you can find me on all social media platforms. Also, it's just Jon Guelas. So there's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, wherever. And also, if you want to stream any of my music, then you can find it on all streaming platforms.
Fantastic.
Just Jon Guelas.
Are there any shout outs you'd both like to give to your fans or anybody else?
SAB?
This is what I was talking about earlier. The intense. You want to go?
Yeah.
You?
We'll start the video with those actually. We'll make like a blooper reel.
We look forward to that. But for me, I really want to thank you so much, Dan, for having us here. This has been a wonderful conversation, and I look forward to getting to watch this and then also messaging you after. For me, I want to give a huge thank you to my lovely fans, my lovely beans. Thank you for always being there and supporting me no matter what. I'm excited to see our family grow, and also I'm so thankful to my Star Magic and Star Music family for all the opportunities and for the trust.
Galing, SAB, galing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Dan, for having us. I'd quickly like to shout out my family. Thank you for being so supportive. I know you're back home in England, but I'm so excited to be back and perform for my family and see you soon. And also all the people that will be there at London 1MX. Me and SAB are so excited to perform for you. So yeah, thank you so much.
So thank you guys for joining me on the podcast. Really enjoyed speaking with you, and best of luck. I'll see you very soon. So we'll join us again on the next episode of Two Peas in a Podcast.